Hey, family.
What's going on, everybody?
It's Kayla
And Juan.
from Those Baxters with the Relationship Show. Hey, today's topic is when the honeymoon is over. So the honeymoon can last for whatever period of time. You know, you go on the honeymoon, you unpack your bags, you get home. There's a period even in the marriage where you're still like, ooh, I'm in love and I love him and he looks so good, she looks so good, I love, yes, all of that. And then every once in a while that honeymoon kind of goes away. So how do you make it past those honeymoon times? What you think, baby?
A lot of prayer, a lot of understanding, and a lot of communication.
Yes, communication is really important. So in some of our past videos, we talked about how important it was to be friends. Yeah. And how we were friends before we got married, even though it was a short amount of time. If you needed a quick recap, we got married, knew each other 4 months, got married 6 months later. In 10 months,
we were married.
Yeah, we were married. And we've been married 19 years. We had some hard times in between those. And I can say we're back on the honeymoon now, which is great, which makes us be able to do this for you. Yeah. But how do we get through those hard times?
Like, to be honest with men, like, it's hard for us because, like, when we get married, you kind of got to let go of that old you. You know, that homie you, that one that was, you know, if your homies called you up and say, no, we out, like I'm saying. So for me, my difficult time was after the honeymoon was over, it was like still trying to keep up with who I was from 46th Street and Ghost Block. Like trying to live up to my neighborhood still while I'm being married. Because when I met her, like I was still partying, I was still going to the after hours, I was still hanging out with my homies, and I felt like, you know, I was still had one foot inside my hood, so I was still, you know, cool. But once I got married, it was like I had to relieve that foot from the hood. It was kind of difficult because it took me telling my homies like, yo, no, I can't hang.
But you also had to want to actually be at home, and that was the thing. That was the hard part.
And if you grew up in my hood, like, you know what I mean, we was the Fresh Prince of Bel Air for real. West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground was where I spent more. So that was our normal life.
Well, one thing that you said that was really important was giving up that old life for this new life that you have. And then there's that thing, while I'm listening to you, I'm like, what about becoming one? Like where the two of us had to become one, but the two of you can't become one if one of your feet is still on the other side at the club. Now, in the beginning, when we were dating and everything, and when we first got married, especially before we had kids, that's a whole nother subject, like how your marriage changes when you had kids. Yeah, that's a future one. So, but I could go with you to the clubs because I like to dance too.
I told you on the last episode she liked to dance, didn't I?
Yes. So in the beginning, that was something that we did, but he still there was that need and that pull that he had to still be in the streets and not be at home. And it really hurt our marriage in the first couple of years of our marriage.
Well, you know what it is? A lot of people can't step away from where they used to be. You know somebody who all they talk about is what they used to do and what y'all used to do, and never about what you want to do and what you're doing now. Yeah, I remember some of it, but these dudes, they know every account of what we did from when we was like in the sandbox. Most of my memory went up in smoke years ago.
Well, I got a question for you.
What's up?
That time when you wanted to, like, why was that pull so great that you still wanted to be your old self instead of be the new husband that you were, that you wanted to be in the streets instead of being at home with your new family? Like, what made that so great? And how did you change that?
Familiarity. Like, my hood is always going to be my hood. Shouts out to 46th Street, Mill Creek, Ghost Block, the whole nine. Always going to be my hood. Love them to death. But the grip that they have on us because of the way we was raised to respect and love our hood, it's hard. It's like divorcing somebody you loved for your whole life.
Wow. So you felt like you couldn't have them both. And really, essentially, you can't have them both. It was a choice that you had to make.
It was a choice. And when it became a choice, God had to sit me down. And the funny part was, I was reading one day about Oprah. And then they talked about her life partner, Stedman. So what I did is I came up with the Stedman rule.
Okay.
With Stedman, now I told y'all who Stedman was. That's Oprah's life partner, man, should have been a husband, but that's a whole nother situation. We talk about that later, Oprah. So, so Stedman has been with Oprah since the beginning. So all them times when they were saying, Oprah, oh, you not fit for TV, you ugly, this, that, and the third, Stedman was there. You dig what I'm saying? He was her support system. Now Stedman,
tell her how beautiful
to tell her
she
how
was.
beautiful she was. Like, yeah, start your own network. Like, Stedman was there. But we don't really see Stedman or hear about Stedman. But get this, would Stedman give up being with one of the richest women in the world, the billionaires that he helped build this empire, to live in Shaquisha basement with her mama? So I had to make a decision. Do I still want to live in the hood?
And run the streets.
Or do I want to live with my Oprah? Because my wife is my Oprah. But at the same time, I had to pray to God and say, God, make my home a place that I want to stay at and don't want to go out. So it was like, what can I do to stay in the house?
So I'll tell you, during those times, and there was many a nights when he would go out with his friends. Like, I was tired of arguing about it. I was tired of being upset when he would come home, and he would come home late because he was still out with his boys, and like the arguments that we had when he would come home, all of that. We said we had a lot of arguments, honey.
Oh, y'all think it was all peaches and cream, right?
It was not peaches and cream. So one of the first things that a lot of like marriages, like you learn, and even in the scriptures, love is patient. Woo-hoo. Love is kind.
Come on now.
So even those first two, love being patient. I was not greater than this pull for the streets that he had. Like, I wasn't. And I could be
addiction.
like, it was an addiction. I could have been like, well, you're supposed to want this now or whatever. Okay, yeah, I had all those arguments, all of those, whatever. Eventually, I had to give that to God. And I had to pray about it and ask God to change his heart. So while he was praying that the Lord would allow him to want to stay home and like make him want to be home, I'm also praying for him that the Lord would change his heart in that way. And I also prayed because I was mad. Let me just say this one part. So I was mad. So what I had to do also was ask the Lord to soften my heart. And you'll probably hear me talk about that a lot, because in a relationship with each other, in a marriage, like, there are times when you're gonna be upset with your husband, and you could decide either to hold on to that or to forgive. And that forgiveness part, like, that's not something that we can easily do on our own. Had I not forgiven him, we wouldn't be here in 19 years. Okay.
And you can't say I forgive, but I don't forget. I'm not gonna forget. That's crap.
It's the same thing. Like, you didn't forgive.
Like, stop, because every time something happens, you throw it up in their face.
Also, I sought wise counsel. So I talked with
another
married person who was in a healthy marriage. So, which matters. Who are you seeking counsel from? And if I did talk to one of my girlfriends who, like, you know, she done had 50 million boyfriends and she don't, or her whatever was not doing her right, or whatever
the situation. Her side piece and
she gonna be like, girl, leave him. They don't care whether or not you married or not. Girl, leave him. I talked with someone who not only loved me, loved my husband, so they love us as a unit, wanted our marriage to work, and they were in a healthy marriage. And what she did was she gave me this 30-day, it's called like Revive Your Marriage, and it was for women to pray for their husbands. So in praying for their husbands, it was prayer, but it was also work. So, okay, faith without works is dead, right? So I had to not only pray for my husband, and there were certain scriptures that were in there, but I also had to be kind to my husband, even when you don't feel like it. Y'all hear that part? Even when you don't feel like it. And sometimes we're that mad that you can decide.
Tell them what you praying for, baby. You gonna listen.
Well, like, I'm telling them what I know. know. I don't know what exactly you want me to say. What you
did
want
you
me
have
to say?
to do in
I
them
had to
30
pray.
days? What did you have to do in them
For
30
those
days?
30 days, every day there were different things I had to pray, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the different things that I had to pray and do, like one of them one day might be like compliment your husband. And I'm like, I don't even feel like speaking to him. He getting on my nerves. I don't want to compliment him. Like, I had all these things happening in my head, but I had to pray and ask the Lord to help me to do that along with scriptures. So what I did was, like, during the day, I would say kind things to my husband. What ended up happening at the end of those 30 days, and I've used this twice in my marriage. He ain't even know about it, so don't even worry. You ain't even got to tell them. That's between you and God. But during that time, when this happened, me being kind to him, even when I didn't feel like it, softened his heart. Is that what you talking about? You want me to tell? It's softened.
You got to.
I'm saying, sometimes, ladies, sometimes we feel like that, right? But me doing that softened his heart. God changed that all. Also, the important thing when the honeymoon was over, to understand, so this is honeymoon being over in the first couple of years of marriage, all the way up until year 15 or whatever, we're on year 19, that we decided, the two of us together decided to be committed to each other.
I ain't going nowhere.
That we wasn't going nowhere. And once we understood that we were going to be there for each other, now this is if there's no abuse in your marriage. I'm not telling you that if you're being abused, which is a whole nother subject, that you're supposed to stay. So that has nothing to do with that, but I'm talking about, like, we were having issues, which wasn't like abuse, but we were having issues, but we were committed to being together. And once we decided that we weren't going anywhere, it changed our marriage, because we were able to have you don't call them arguments. What you call them, baby?
Intense fellowship.
He calls it intense. We were able to have intense fellowship. Right? But probably even thinking like that helps us.
If you don't call it an argument, you don't look at them as arguments.
Yeah. And
but at the same time, you got to look at the other person like I always tell people, man, you got to look at the other person like you love them. That's your best friend. So you can't just say everything that you want to spew out your mouth.
Like they somebody on the street.
Yeah, like you can't, because
anyway.
Yeah, you shouldn't be saying that anyway. You got to look at that person in love and understand, like, listen, all right, this is going to be a difficult time. We might say some things, but let's make those things that we say that we can forgive, and not like they're not things that we're going to say that's going to leave a stain on this relationship forever. Like, that's something you don't want to do. So, like, you just want to be kind when you're in these intense fellowships.
Yeah, help me to look at my spouse through the lenses of love. Help me to see them through your eyes. Like, asking the Lord to help you through the lenses of love. Man, like, what does that look like? Help me.
No, baby. No. I was joking. So I just wanted to say, listen, what I had to do after that is make my wife my Joan again. You know what I'm saying? I had to make her feel like she was my Joan again.
Yeah,
like
I was dating.
Because I know I hurt her. So I had to figure out how to make my wife my Joan. That's my book coming out next year. So how to make your wife your Joan. I had to do those things that got me her. You dig what I'm saying? So I had to redo that over and remember why I fell in love with her in the first place. Buy my book next year. So listen, how to make your wife your Joan. You got to do these baby steps in order to get her back. Buy her flowers. I tell her I love her every day, all day. Even though when she don't think she look beautiful, I tell her she look beautiful without makeup on. I tell her she look beautiful in the morning. Even when we gotta be like, she be like, leave me alone. I'm like, you look beautiful. Hey, beautiful. I gave her pet nicknames like Sunshine. Hey, Sunshine, you shining bright today. Just so I can remind her that I love her and how much I love her. Because, like, the last thing I want to do is be alone. Nobody wants to be alone. Why mess up something precious that I have to be alone? So that's why this love is back at that happy place.
Yeah.
We back on that honeymoon because we remembered why we actually fell in love.
Yeah. You almost made me cry. I just wanted to say, like, okay, you saying good morning, sunshine, to me really, really helps me. And it, because sometimes you may not feel like that, but you let me know, like telling me I'm beautiful when I don't feel beautiful. Husbands that are listening, wives that are listening, it's really important to encourage your spouse.
That's
it
Yeah,
for
that's
today.
it.
This was, what was it, after the honeymoon?
When the honeymoon is over.
When the honeymoon is over.
Make sure that you follow us on all social media.
Yes.
That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. If you're on the YouTube, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Tell us what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need us, we're relationship counselors. So I'm a relationship therapist, and my wife is.
I am a certified life coach, and we share our testimonies and we coach people all the time. So we're available for you if you need us. And that's it.
That's it.
It is Kayla
And Juan.
from Those Baxters, and this is the Relationship Show.
Show.
You're supposed to say,
Oh, bye, bye, bye.
yeah.